So here we go again with my favourite time of the week when I get to sit down and read your comments about my blogs on Kermode Uncut. And just before I went away for the Christmas break, I put up two lists. One of them was my top 5 films of 2010. The other was my bottom 5 films of 2010. And this has provoked many furious responses from you about films that I overlooked, films that I included, films that I didn't include. So I want to give you the chance to answer my lists. Here are some of your responses, starting with my list of my top 5 films of the year. As you know, I think the best film of the year was Inception. I really loved it. I loved it when it first came out. I've continued to love it ever since. I just watched it on Blu-ray just the other night, and you know what? It's just as good in your home. This from Will Chadwick. The fact that Social Network isn't in your top 5 is sad. It's the best film since There Will Be Blood. Now, I really did wrestle with putting Social Network in the top 5, and I do understand people wanting it to be in there. Funnily enough, I just watched that again the other night. It is a really good, solid movie, certainly the best screenplay of the year, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if Aaron Sorkin walked off with the Oscar. But in compiling my top 5 list, hey, you know what? Not everything could go in. This from Alina, oh dear. When you got through numbers 5 to 2, I thought, yes, Winter's Bone gets the top spot, only to find that Winter's Bone didn't even make it into the top 5. I found Inception lacked a certain emotional depth. And once again, Winter's Bone, a terrific movie. I do think that Jennifer Lawrence was arguably the best actress performance of last year, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if she features in an awards ceremony very close to home. This from Amber. I think it's senseless to criticise a list of entirely subjective taste, but I will say that your choices were disappointingly predictable. I mean, the thing is, if you look at the blog during the year, and I tell you that there's loads of movies that I really love, my list at the end of the year are going to be disappointingly predictable. Sorry, there's not a lot I can do about that, but sorry to have disappointed you, Amber. Onto my list of worst films of 2010, which I think some of you may have enjoyed more. There was general agreement about Fred the movie being awful, although many of you were particularly upset by my impression of Fred, which I'm not going to do again. Much hatred for Iron Man 2, which I didn't dislike at all. Book of Eli, which I liked very much. Grown Ups, which I think we all agree was rubbish. And Cop Out, the Kevin Smith film. But here are some of your comments. This from Driftin. What? No Serbian film? That really is shocking. I haven't seen Fred or Sex and the City 2, but I did recently watch a Serbian film. Some people have criticised the BBFC for being draconian here. They cut it by around 4 minutes. I think they made a mistake by not banning it. Not because it's evil and immoral, but because it's just a stinker of a film. Well, two things to say. As George Orwell said, if freedom of speech is to mean anything, it must mean the right for people to say the things you don't want to hear. And in case of really hating Serbian film, I didn't really hate it. I just really didn't like anything about it at all. This from Rainbow Bright. As a female, I'd like to say that if Sex and the City 2 is in any way representative of my gender, then I have no hope for the human race. It is true that almost every single one of you that saw Sex and the City 2 absolutely hated it, and most of you seem to agree that it is a very, very misogynist bath fest. This from LSJ Shez. With regards to Let Me In, which I didn't like at all, how can you justify slamming a film solely for the reason that it's a remake of a great film? Let me be clear about this. The problem with Let Me In is not simply that it's a remake of a great film. It's that it's a remake of a great film that does not understand what was great about the great film in the first place and exists solely to satisfy those people who are too lazy to read subtitles. It's the thin end of the wedge. I really dislike that movie, not just because I really love Let the Right One In, but because it doesn't need to exist. It is the most pointless remake of recent years. Finally, a couple of short but pithy comments. This from Hello Lewis. Skyline was worse. I don't know what the whole thing was about Skyline. It wasn't that terrible. I mean, it wasn't monsters, but it wasn't that terrible. It was just adequate and interesting in a production way. Not as interesting as Monsters, but certainly not one of the worst 5 films of the year. And just to finish off with this, hello and goodbye from Will the Nemesis. Watch this, as I have never heard of that Kermode guy before, but I'll be certain not to watch one of his videos ever again. Probably one of the most irritating I think he means critics, I have ever seen. Well, always happy to oblige, and it's goodbye from me, and apparently it's goodbye from him.